afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our very first WORQ Learning Lab. Okay, so just want to make sure we are already recording, Ravina. Okay, great, thank you. So this is a new monthly learning series that we are bringing in, and the idea is simple. Instead of us inviting someone else from outside, we thought, why not we bring in the best of us in the group to come to do some sharing, because we already have so much collective intelligence within WORQ. So today's session will be short and focused. We will have 20 minutes of conversation, and then if there's time, we will open it up in the last 10 minutes for some Q&A, and we will also be recording this session. So today, thank you everyone for being here, and thank you Sky to join us. So a little bit about Sky. As most of you would already know, Sky is our assistant head of sales at WORQ, and he leads a lean but high-performing sales team that has driven strong growth across all of our outlets, consistently delivering results in a very competitive market. So what stands out about Sky is not just the performance, but he has proven himself to be a great leader. He leads with a strong focus on mindset, discipline, and he always talks about the 1% continuous improvement, which we will hear a little bit more today. And he will be sharing his journey and how he really embodies the 1% when it comes to his work. So thank you, Sky, for being here. So all right, with that, we will kickstart. So Sky, you know, we've met when I joined, and you have always been very open and vulnerable about your journey, and I want to thank you for that. So my question will actually tap into a little bit, it's a little bit personal. So you were diagnosed with diabetes at a young age. What was the mindset shift that helped you move from struggling with this illness from a very young age to accepting and working with it?
Right. So I had this medical condition when I was 10 years old. It felt like the whole world crashed on me. I then had to inject insulin. For those who know me personally, if you happen to dine with me, you will see me injecting insulin when I have lunch with you or any form of food consumption. So that's my medical condition. When I had that medical condition when I was 10 years old, it wasn't the easiest thing, because last time my mother had to come over to the school to help me administer insulin. Then we used to have a next door class that was empty, fortunately. So every time when my mom came over to the class, like just half an hour before the recess time, my mom will like bring me over to the next door class to inject insulin. So I had that journey for almost 1 year after my diagnosis. Then gradually I started to pick up injecting for myself, and that was a small life-changing moment for me. What I took away from this was diabetes became my first teacher in life. And I came to this world and subsequently had this medical condition. It taught me this change of mindset. I had this system of challenges, medical condition that I had to inject. In fact, during my early days, Children's Day, right, I could not enjoy Children's Day like any other friends in the school, because the chocolates and the sweet stuff, right, were something that I could not access. I could just bring home when I have low sugar. I could only consume those things. So it made me understand that what I can change in life were things that are happening now, and I should accept what was given to me, right? So diabetes was the first teacher to taught me, in helping me to have that mindset to understand what is stoicism. Stoicism is a concept where I am guided to understand the things that I can control in life and the things that I couldn't control in life. And knowing the things that I can control in life helps me to be focused in moving myself towards the right traction. And since I became very intentional in my mindset.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. So it's so interesting to hear you say diabetes was your first teacher, when you could easily say, like, you know, like it could be something, I mean, it is, of course, it's not a good, like, it wasn't a nice thing to have as a kid, but instead of looking at it as a bad thing, you actually took it in stride and saw it as a teacher. That's really awesome. So my second question is, when you joined WORQ, you introduced something called video culture in the sales team. Can you walk us through what that was and what problem you were trying to solve when you brought in the video culture?
So when I joined WORQ during 2022, it was a very big milestone to myself. I used to run car parks before getting into the business of co-working space. And I thank the founders, Stephanie and Andrew. They were willing to accept who I was before I joined. Honestly, I felt that I wasn't fully ready for the job when I joined the whole company, because it was quite different than what I had to do when I run car parks and what I had to do when I run a co-working space business. Then I had this picture of a person that I want to become. And that person is the one who needs to run a sales department in WORQ co-working space. And that person has to be able to work with the team members in WORQ. So when I joined the company, I was so fortunate to have Zulaika, Marcus, Vicky. They were more experienced than I did. I initially thought that I wanted to be a coach or a more experienced figure to so-called like train, teach the salesman, but turns out they were even better than me. And my job was not to train them. My job was to help them unlock their fullest potential in their own way. And true enough, that model worked. How I came about the idea of creating video, right? Running the department, I realized that there were so many communication bottlenecks and slowdown when we do not have enough visuals when we service and serve our customers when they inquire. In a very fast-moving business like co-working space, the trust is built when we have competence in coming back to client very quickly, and that reply has to have depth to the information. So I started that move by leading by example. I started my own video, and I cringe a lot. If you ask me to show you the first video that I did 2 to 3 years ago, I cringe a lot. I wanted to jump into the screen and punch myself seriously, but I just did it. That inspiration came about when I saw the other people. I had this very dear friend of mine. He was selling industry property, and he was flying drones to take videos of all these things, right? But I couldn't do exactly what he did. But what inspired me was how visual and video can help people to understand a space, an office space well, and make decisions faster.
Great. So I would imagine when you bring in a new idea like this, right, there would naturally be resistance, like be it company or your team. So how did you get people on board to adopt this idea?
As a team leader, I am always for leading by example. One must be able to lead with a very clear purpose. And when we show that to our team member, we must be able to articulate benefits. Okay, this is very important, because when we have clarity in leadership, we are able to get buy-in from other people simply because doing so will make their life better in the long run. So I truly felt that when we have a video, first, it will help every team member to have an identity when we circulate our office inventory in the town. And agents grow fond of us because they see our face photo state every day in their handphone and all this circulation. It is very powerful. I think some of you in my team, in the sales team, have this experience of members recognizing you when you walk into the outlet. You see, that is the guy that I saw in the video. And that is that dude that I know through video. And when you haven't really met before, and it was super helpful when we are navigating deals from clients who are overseas, from UK, we have serious time difference, right? It really brings down the communication cost. So I thought that was the whole point, and I told my team. Of course, I myself, I took my own medicine and I experimented, and my first video was really horrible. It was really horrible, and the mic was bad, and my whole video taking skill was really bad as well. And that time I started, and this was how I perceive 1% improvement. We have 11 locations. That time maybe we could just do for 8 locations. We weren't that big. And I started off with the first location, I do 1%. And even though it was like trying to boil the whole ocean, right? But somehow we managed to have 100% coverage of every single private office room that we have in our portfolio today. Because we believe that every day when we do 1%, and when we are more high spirit, in certain days we do more. And today we have that culture. So lead by example, and try to guide our team to start their first video. When they have their first video, the inertia is unstoppable.
Yeah, totally agree. And it also reminds me of a conversation we had collectively in our dream team a couple of weeks back, where you gotta like be really bad at something at first and embrace that, because with consistency you get to see the results. Yeah. So now moving into the main topic of the day, right, which is the 1% better. So first, can you explain how do you define this 1% better concept, and what does that look like in your day-to-day when you approach your work?
1% improvement ideology, I perceive that as a toolkit for someone who wants to transform their life. When you are in the very stationary state of life, when you have a very big setback that you need to pull yourself out, this is the thing that you should consider to apply in your day-to-day life to transform your life very gradually. In Chinese, we call 细水长流, meaning the water flow that is slower but constantly flowing is the most powerful force. Yeah. So mathematically, when you try to improve your life in every aspect, at least 1% every day, for example, when you are doing strength exercise, you do one more set, right? Or when you do your work, you try to stay on, you persevere a little bit more, is 1%. And if you do it for 1 year on certain things that you consistently do it, you are 37 times better, because mathematically, every day you improve 1%, you are 365% better at the end of the year. And this is guaranteed. And when I read this book from Atomic Habits, James Clear, right, it truly said that how do we start this transformation? I think you need a lot of social proof. When you have a habit, you need to declare it to the people around you, and that social validation and social pressure, right, push you to do it, push you to persevere it. For example, when I started the whole video culture, right, I told my whole team, I said, we're gonna do video. And I told Chia, I remember there was one time, when I was at the brink of confirmation, I was trying to pass my 6-month confirmation. We started Menara One Centrum. And that beginning was very patchy, because we were trying to push the occupancy to 70% and we were struggling. So I told Chia during my OKR appraisal, I said I wanted to be the best of the best. Even though I wasn't, but I have this person that I picture that I want to become. And I slowly work 1% every day towards that. Then it came about all these strategies that the team has been very supportive in doing it together with me. First, the video culture was the game changer. If we go around and ask all the flex operators in the town, people like WeWork, Regis, Common Ground, even Infinity 8, right? They all confess that they knew what is the key thing that set us apart from them in terms of distributing office supply. but they couldn't do it because of the inertia from their internal culture. They had a lot of challenges in getting buy-in from every single team member. First, to really genuinely show their face and love their product, show that to the world by doing video. They couldn't get that, but in WORQ team, we are very cohesive and we have that very strong foundation to do video. And when we run the department more effectively, every single team member had that 1% improvement in their mindset to have more accountability. Yeah, I'm really very grateful to have team members like Marcus. Marcus now is our great planner in our team, right? Our Datuk Marcus, right? He will help us to plan out the layout, and then he will pull all the data of videos vault, right, into the layout. So when people see that PDF file, they click that cartoon, the video will come out. For a very normal customer, when they came across to one quotation, the one that has one pager and the other one from ex-competitor that has a layout that doesn't have video link on, how much deep work has been put into a very simple job. For example, sending a quotation. So that really speaks volume. And the other team members grew very with talents like Sharon. Recently he debuted a very nice video thanks to Dato Amiro and Sharon's collaboration, right? Yeah, he made a very good video because his baji is meant to be in front of the screen, one. Push Sharon to take what he's supposed to do every day. The team becomes a high performance team. And this particular value, if you value the company, right, it is a very high value culture. People pay for the culture because that culture makes people become cohesive. And then the team suddenly become very accountable in blocking their own calendars, and they report their deal making in the HubSpots. We used to have a department where data collection was a big gap. And before AI, right, data collection was purely meant for managerial people to look at the data and how much we are doing. But now that we have a good foundation in data reporting, right, when AI come in, we are the first company that can adopt AI the next day. And I have interviewed a lot of industrial players like my competitors, even the property agency, right? They struggle to implement AI in the powerful way because they couldn't gather their business data out in a cohesive way. And that cannot be applied to automation. WORQ has this foundation that we do 1% every day. We do 1% every day to improve that linkage from deal making to our back end.
Yeah, and really what I hear is you begin small, you begin imperfect, but with time, you're able to embrace bigger projects because you already have that foundation. You're familiar with that. Yeah. So, Sky, as we come to the end, right, I always like to ask people one tangible takeaway. So my last question is, if there is one thing that you can tell someone on how they can do differently when they are facing a difficult situation, right? What is that one thing you want them to remember?
One thing is to believe in yourself. And because you believe in yourself, you have this visualization of someone you want to become that will be able to contribute greatly to the business you are doing. You must be very proud in what you are doing. If you are not proud in what you are doing, something is wrong with the pathway you are doing. So I always have this phrase that I engrave in my brain every day. That comes from Tan Sri Jeffrey Cha when he started Sunway, Sungai Way Berhad, and it subsequently became Sunway Berhad. Character is destiny. It's a very famous phrase from Heraclitus. If you search it up on the internet, I strongly agree with this phrase because character defines the reaction that we do, the resilience that we choose to have. As it is all about ourselves, we have full control of our character when we lead our life in every capacity. So if you want to build a character that you deserve, right, to change your life, you should start with small habits. Start with something that will really transform you in the long run. Give yourself 1 year and you will really see the fruit of it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sky. That's great. So we have about like 5 minutes. Let's just open it up. You are free to share any thoughts, any questions that you have with Sky, or even just if you have something that resonate with you in our conversation. Yeah, feel free to do so.
Oh, Marcus have something to ask.
No, I just want to say that it's important thing about this 1% thing is about doing. Make sure that we are never good at making these videos. Even at this stage, my video making is quite terrible, but it's a matter that don't worry. This information is there for a short time. Average views that we have for this is about 15 anyway. So you're going to have 15 people that see you. So don't worry about what happens outside of you. Just worry about doing the job.
I think Marcus was right, because it's not about doing the most perfect video. We have this idea, when we started this YouTube thing, we definitely knew that we're not going to become 1 million view one video. That is for sure. So how we are going to get that similar exposure, right? We're going to have 1,000 videos where every video has 100 views. Is equivalent exposure as if you have like 1 million views in one video. That's one. And I always believe in what Jack Ma said. He said, you don't have to be the best, but you have to be the earliest to do something. So in our industry per se, we were the first adopter to start all these high volume video. Of course, when you see our competitors, there are a lot of people doing micro reels, but they were just like once in a while one video. It was not consistent, but we start this in a very big way. Even though when we couldn't do any commercial grade video, right? The volume itself speaks volume, and the coverage itself, the expectancy of this whole video exercise speak volume. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. Is there anyone? I think we can take one last question or comment, or even like your feedback in today's session.
Maybe a quick question to Mr. Sky here. I know Sky also mentioned today that you have a clear envision of what type of person you want to be, right? So what does this future Sky look like? I'm very curious. And secondly, maybe just a quick one also, like this video initiative, it's a very inspiring. I'm also curious, like, is there anything else that you are looking to explore? What's the next exploration for not only for you, for your team, or maybe for everybody else as well that can be part of also?
Very well asked questions from Nicholas. So first question, how do I envision myself in the next 5 years? I recently took this class from my valley. This particular meditation class is called the Silva meditation technique. It helps me to have more clarity in my mind on how I want to picture the emotions that I'm going to have in future. And I sort of have a storyboard from there. How I'm going to picture myself in the next 5 years, right? I grew up suffering from a lot of illnesses. Along the way, I have seen a lot of children. They were deprived from the medical equipment. Okay, because in order to live as a diabetes patient, actually it's very costly. In order to buy the sensor, the CGM sensor, and pay for your insulin supplies and a lot of supplements in order to survive, I think that is a privilege. One day, I wish to be able to contribute to a foundation to help people who are not marginalized, who cannot afford CGM. In Singapore, it's happening. The marginalized people who suffer from diabetes, they get aids from some foundations so they can afford the CGM and they therefore lead a better life. If Universal permits me, I wish to travel APAC, if I can, to make real estate greater. Of course, real estate has been very mushrooming in the past 5 years in terms of flex office. I wish to be someone who can contribute massively in the way real estate changes. First thing, fundamentally, the Strata Act in real estate has a huge gap in the whole Malaysia commercial building. Landlords are not very well protected, and the tenants' interests are not very well protected when they move into a building that is dilapidated. And there is a huge issue, is a loss to the economy. I wish to contribute to that. I wish to make the whole agency industry in Malaysia, especially the license holders of property agency, embrace a new way of using office. I'm trying to navigate that from the board of valuers perspective. Yeah, so that's question number one, how I envision myself. I wish to be able to influence the great people in the industry to help us push for all these agenda that will eventually make people from the real estate industry benefit from this advancement. And first, on my personal level, I grew up from being sick, right? I really want to do something for the community, and that comes with wealth, efficacy from a policy making standpoint. Yeah, I wish to meet like-minded people who can contribute massively in the medical side of diabetes management. Okay, second question. Yeah, my team has embraced a few key milestones, the video culture. It's not just a new thing that we embrace, it requires a lot of effort to maintain that culture. Yeah, that culture really has to stay in order to really call it a culture that sticks. I am very proud that the other team members like Marcus, Vicky, Sharon, Melanie, even when she joined us almost like 4 weeks plus a year, right? She already did her first video and she's doing it more. Yeah, that requires a lot of people to pass down to the next person with that framework of mind that we don't have to teach you how to do video, but you have that framework of mind that you want to do that video to help somebody remotely to understand how does your office space look like. So it will help them to save time. Yeah, but now what I foresee in the future, right, is I'm pushing for a very drastic AI agenda in the team. The objective remained very clear that I wanted to liberate the customer front end, right, to reply faster. It will reduce the hours that they will spend in replying messages that take up a lot of time. And from that time that they save, right, they can use it to develop themselves to be even more competent. I myself have used AI for the past 1 year, and the whole escalation of our efficiency, right, can be seen by anybody from our team, anybody from our neighboring department. Yeah, because of AI, we are able to achieve a lot of things that we have not been able to achieve earlier. And that hours that I free up, I use it to learn English. Because if I learn better way of speaking on the stage, I can help myself to achieve that sky that I want to become 5 years later. Yeah, so our department, we will focus on very drastic AI agenda in pushing Rachel 2.0. I'm sure some of you have seen how Rachel 1.0 does. A few key features including an automation to help calculate due engine underutilization discount. This robot can even help to calculate effective rental when customer inquire during the weekend. But of course, when we tested all these AI things, we were grappling with hallucination. The robot had a very inconsistent way of behaving, so we couldn't control that very well. And fortunately, working very closely with scientist Wei Zhong, we were able to discover a new house to host this ambition. Because if you look at our business requirement, the AI requires a lot of brain power to pull data from our office R&D to tell customer at midnight, if you want to secure event hall, robot can tell you that from Sunday night, right, next month, certain date, Integra event hall is available. You can book it. Previously, Laika and Selena had to spend a lot of time to do one single job, to log into Office R&D and just check and tell customers, okay, our event hall is available. Do you want to book? Yeah. So I'm pushing for AI in future. And when we free up all these hours, I wish to position my team members to increase their IP. So they have an identity when they are pushing out office inventory. They have a fan base. The agents have a different, these are Sony music, right? In the boys, then certain people, they like this member, then the other, they like Marcus,
Yes, yes.
Marcus. That's how I envision sales department to be in the near future.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you, Sky. This is amazing. So thank
Most
you
welcome.
so much for sharing your time and also to tell us a little bit more about your backstory. We really enjoy learning about the things that you have implemented. And also, obviously, we could see how tight you are with your sales team. And that's very inspiring. And yes, and also thank you for the preview on the AI. So for this is a conversation that we will continue having, because as the company move towards implementing AI into all layers, we will definitely find a way we can circulate back, because that itself can be a whole session of a learning lab session. Yeah. So
Totally agree.
so for everyone who attended today, thank you so much. I also want to say that if you have any topics that you would love to share, please reach out to me. We can always have a session like this, a similar fireside chat like what we have with Sky, or it can also be a demonstration kind of session that you can bring, you can facilitate, and we can have this platform for you guys to do it. Because at the end of the day, we are here, we have multiple talents, we are so multidimensional, and we should just bring these gifts and share it with the rest of the company. So thank you everyone for being here. And again, thank you, Sky, for giving us your time and for